You are listening to the Unleashed and Aligned podcast, where we strip away the noise, unleash our truth, and align with our highest self. I'm your host, Coach Felicia, a life coach, energy guide, and your biggest believer. Now let's dive into today's episode. All right, welcome to the Unleashed and Aligned podcast. I have an amazing guest today. I'm super excited. Her name is Olena Sadoma. And she is a personal energy coach who helps ambitious women stop living by draining to-do lists and start doing what they actually want in life, in work, and in business. She teaches them how to work with their energies instead of against it, so they can make space for what truly lights them up. Her work blends the spiritual and the practical, reconnecting clients to their soul-led desires, and then building energy alignment calendars, rituals, and habits to bring those desires to life. It's about capacity, not strategy. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Felicia.
Hello. All right. So I'm super excited because I did not realize that you live near me. So that is so amazing. I can't wait to get coffee together now. And tell me a little bit, because I'm so curious of like what led you to move here. Is this the first state in the US that you came to? Like, tell me all the background.
Felicia, this is such an interesting story because my first ever state, my first ever foreign trip. So I'm Ukrainian. I was born in Ukraine. I grew up there, but I participated in a foreign exchange program and I got a call when I was 15 years old, like, hi, you've been selected. You're gonna live in America for 1 year, and we're from Alaska.
Oh.
So that was my first introduction to US. It was kind of after that, I was like, oh, I'm so sure I would never live in this. Really. It's not about Alaska. It was just my introduction into what American life is. And it was kind of not aligned to what I wanted to do. So after that trip, I was like, oh my God, I want to do like whatever I learned here, I want to do it in Ukraine. So it was kind of like very like I wanted to apply everything that I learned. And I was very sure I would never live in the US. And I traveled many times after that. I drove the whole East Coast from Florida to Niagara Falls. I've
Wow.
been many times in this canyon
The Grand
national
Canyon.
park zone. I would say like Utah, Arizona, Nevada,
So fun.
California. Yeah, I've been there a lot, but I was still sure. Like I was traveling to US almost every year. But I was like, no, good to travel, but never like no, no, no. So imagine this, that one day I'm waking up and I hear this. Okay, it's not about hearing the voice. It's about, so you know that there are people who are like clairvoyant, whatever, how it's called. I don't see things. I don't hear them. I just know.
And inner knowing.
Yeah, yeah. And it'd be just like, you have to go to America, which was so bizarre to me. So like it's kind of like there are two of me. So there is a head that is rational, that is very right. And then it's like, oh my God, where does it come from? Olena, seriously, you don't have an invitation for a job in US. You never wanted to live there. In terms of travel, I just want to like the only thing that is not covered in US is Yellowstone.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only place that I really, really want to go in my bucket list. And I'm like, what the hell? Seriously. But I've learned to trust that voice.
Mm-hmm.
So I've learned to rely on that more. And I was finding a reason to come. So I was like, okay. And I realized that my friend lives in Seattle. And I called her and said, I'm going to visit you. 6 months later, it was a call. And I was like, how about you come here and live for a while?
Oh
And
my
I
God.
did. Yep. So last year, I moved here to Seattle. And seriously, Felicia, the moment I moved here, maybe within the first week, I just it was again the inner knowing I'm gonna live here for a long time.
That's so cool. I love it. I feel like I've always wanted to travel and, like, live somewhere. I think in my past life, I was like a traveler or something because I always am drawn to just, like, pack up everything and just go, and I've never done it because I got into a relationship really early on, and he's very much a, like, my stable rock. I
That's
met him
good.
when I was 19, and we've still been together, and he loves Washington, and he does not wanna leave, and, I think the older he gets now, the more he's like, "Oh, well, yeah, we could do that," but I think the thought like, I'm a very spontaneous person, like, I would just well, I told you
Mhm.
earlier that I just, like, quit my job. I just, like, I can't. Um, but I can just, like, if somebody was the same energy as me, I don't know where I would be, honestly, because it would
Mhm.
be like, "Let's go." So I love when people say, like, "I just packed up and I moved," or "I just got a call to do this and I just did it." And I think that that's so it takes a lot of courage, and it's so amazing. Like, to me, it's inspiring that you
Oh,
just, like,
thank
went with
you.
it.
Thank you. I'm a traveler. So in my list, I've been to 77 countries.
And that's so cool.
Uh, I traveled around Africa. I lived in Europe. I lived in US. Now I'm living in US again. Um, it is a matter of just being where you feel that you are the best self
Yeah,
at this very moment.
I love that. Ah! Well, let's dive into my first question. So, when did you realize you were playing small and holding yourself back from being like
Mhm.
this more authentic version of yourself?
It was actually when I came here.
Oh,
So like it was a kind of like it wasn't the very, very first thing that I was playing small because I think I was like very ambitious since I was I when started walking. So it's kind of like my ambitions were like way ahead of my capacities all my life.
I love it.
But then when I came here, so my initial plan was to come here and live here in US for 2 years, and I had like this layout plan. Okay, I'm gonna do this and this and this, and in my gut feeling, the same feeling that told me like, "Oh, you're gonna stay here," that same knowing was telling me, "Already you're playing too small. Your plans that you gave yourself, it's just too small for you. Too
Wow.
small of what you can do here." So yeah, I lived in Ukraine before that. So I lived in Ukraine during the 2 years that the war was there, and it's still there. And when I moved here, I had my plans laid out to work somewhere uh, in between Ukraine and US.
Well,
And I had this idea that I'm gonna visit my friend here in Seattle, move East Coast, which I love. I love East Coast. But I was like, no, hold on. It just doesn't feel right. I didn't know the answer to that. What is right?
yeah.
I didn't know that. But I just felt I wasn't walking in my shoes, not mine. And I was like, okay, I don't know what I'm supposed to do here. I'm not sure to what extent, um, what is the opportunity. So I just gave myself time to basically meet as many people as I can and see what's possible.
Oh, I love that. I love really quick that you are so tuned in that you're like, you know what? I don't know what it is, but I'm not walking in my own shoes. And I'm just going to give myself time because I think that that's so like incredible that you are aware of that for one. And also for, the person that's listening to this right now that maybe feels like that, like they're had this path set out and they have everything like drawn out and organized and then they're like I
Mhm,
don't know if I resonate with this anymore, and I think so many times we still push ourselves to that, and I like that this hopefully has people stop and be like, well, maybe I just need to give myself a little bit of a break and kind of fill
mhm.
around more.
Felicia, I think that many people I think I'm blessed that I have the opportunity to move in terms of like, okay, it doesn't feel right. I'm gonna change. Many people don't have
Mhm.
uh this opportunity. I don't know, they have student debts, they just bought a house or something. They're kind of like rigidly stuck to a place that they have to do, to some commitments that they've made prior. I remember I came actually to a doctor, and he was actually the same age as me, and he was like, "Oh, I actually know you from a long time ago, back in my city." And I started talking to him about what he does, whether he likes his job, and he's like, "Well, I really don't. But I've spent so many years studying for that. I've spent so many years getting into the place where I am that I just have to stay here." And he was, I don't know, at that time in his early 30s. And I'm thinking, oh my God, you are going to work for another 20, 30 years in a job that you absolutely don't like. But
Mhm.
then you've made so many commitments before that it's hard to leave. And many people actually are stuck into that situation. So like I think we have to be mm, grace oh whatever. Sorry, English is not my first language. Um we have to be kind to ourselves
Mhm.
sometimes, to give ourselves a space. Yes, I want something else. Maybe I'm not in the place to afford to do something else. So
Yes.
not to ruin ourselves at that moment that like, oh my God, like she's able to do that. Why am not able to do that?
Yes, I think that it's good to have the awareness too and to be open to the possibilities. And I
Mhm.
remember, I wish I could remember the person's name, but I heard her on a podcast and I think she was like a surgeon or something, and she was called to do some other work and she just like completely like left her practice
Mhm.
and was not sure how she was gonna like make the house payments and things like that.
Yeah.
And I think that we can have commitments and we can feel maybe stuck, but there's always options for us. The path
Yeah.
might not be the best, like in your brain, like, oh, well, that's not that might take me down more debt or that might be, and it's almost like having that trust and that faith in ourselves that we are able to navigate that as well. And sometimes that
Mhm.
is staying in a job that maybe you don't feel super connected to, but you are working towards paying off debt or you are working towards building that bank
Mhm.
account so that you can take the trip or travel or move or whatever it is. So maybe
Mhm.
it's not clear right now, but I do think
Mhm.
having that awareness can help us and like owning it can help us
Oh yeah.
start to clear that path a little bit more. Just like
Mhm.
having that.
For sure, it all starts with awareness. I think we all have this voice inside of ourselves. We all have this knowing. We just forgot to listen to it, and
Mhm.
it's kind of like, okay, imagine this. This voice is telling you, but you are ignoring it all the time. At certain point, is like, why would I even tell you
Yeah.
anything if you are not listening? Seriously.
Right.
So start, like a good start would be to listen to it, to be aware of what you
Mhm.
feel, where you are, and not necessarily make any action. I like the meditation. It's like you don't have to stop your thoughts. Just be aware that you're thinking about that.
Yes. I love that.
Yeah, you don't adjust. So this is a very, very good start. But the other thing is like, so you suggested to like work on a bank account, on savings, on staying in a job. I would say yes, and do something that you actually want to do. Not to the extent that you quit your job and you just dive in.
Mhm.
I'd have little demo versions. Go on a date with that life of yours that you
Oh, I
want.
love that. That's such a good suggestion.
So it's kind of like you see out there. So like you test your life that you want.
Mhm.
And so I do energy work. And so to be energetic, I'm gonna give you a little
Okay.
like, to be energetic, you have to have your physical energy in place, emotional energy. mental and spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just about like figuring out your sleep, your nutrition, your workouts. No, you have to have all four in place to be energetic.
Yes.
So mental energy is about doing what you love, applying your gifts to this life. And yes, sometimes we are stuck into like what we don't like to be doing, but well, it pays my bills. Well, it feeds me. That's okay. But we have to do something on the side to feed our mental energy.
Mm-hmm.
Do something, do artwork, something that doesn't pay your bills, but feeds your
Feeds your
soul.
soul. Yes.
Yeah. So kind of like so going back to that, stay in a job, but try something. Try something that you actually want to be doing. And then maybe at some day you'll acquire so many resources that you're gonna like, oh, I'm actually at the point that I can switch.
Yes. Yes, I do. Like you said, it all starts with that awareness and being, and starting to like work on trusting what you're actually picking up and what you're coming up with. And
Mm-hmm.
then I love that aligning because I think that so many times we can get into a routine and then it's
Mm-hmm.
like, we're like, what are we doing with our life? But our brain likes that routine. We're so
Yeah.
routine animals that we can go on autopilot
Yeah.
and then we're not having the awareness. We're not having that conscious thought, that, and so
Mm-hmm.
putting stuff in there that's maybe a little spontaneous. Like you
Mm-hmm.
said, art, doing something artful or maybe something playful that really lights your soul and spirit up. I think that that's amazing advice. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm,
And also, just in addition to
yeah.
what you've said, we had this private talk, and so you shared some of your life story that from outside you seemed successful, but you were not aligned
Mm-hmm.
inside, and we are stuck not only to the routines, but what is supposed to be
Yes.
successful. Oh my God, you have this job, you have this house, you have this family, but how you are inside, you are not happy.
Yeah.
You may be not happy in your marriage. You may not be happy with your the place where you live,
Mhm.
even if it's considered to be the best one.
Yep.
So it's like it's very it takes a big courage, and I appreciate you telling the story to me. And probably you've been telling it on your podcast, or you are gonna tell it more. That you are courageous to change.
Yeah, it's funny because I never thought of that, as being something courageous. I was just like, I'm just, like, led, kind of like how you were talking
Mm-hmm.
about, "I'm being led to this," and so many people say that, and I didn't realize how many people are, like, more scared to change, and it is different 'cau I don't have children, so I think that there's so many different factors that can play into why
Mm-hmm.
people make the choices that they make.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think that you're spot on when you say just working little things into your routine and trying to find that inner soul because we
Mm-hmm.
can get um so caught up in the routine that we forget what
And
we even like.
this aligned.
Yeah. Yes, and disaligned, exactly.
Yeah.
So, speaking of which, what is something that you had to let go of in order to become who you are today?
Um, okay, so if we're talking about my move from Ukraine to Seattle, the biggest thing that I was giving up was my network. The people who I
Mhm.
knew, the clients that I was serving is like living in one space for a long time. Give me actually like a big jump start because you're building the networks. You're built. People know you.
Yeah.
People like you're kind of like this consistency of doing things in one place. So back in Ukraine, I developed a big social media. I developed my practice. I was collaborating with many people, working with many people, and I'm a community person. So like I love people, and the biggest asset that I had was a network of people around me. So I was known, and I knew people.
Yeah.
So the very first thing that you give up when you move to another country is that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're still there, but proximity is actually a key. Like you have to be around the people. So like I lost basically the ability to call a person who's like, hey, I need help with that, this or that, because you kind of like have this Rolodex of people that
Yeah.
you know and you like you've already worked with them. So you can trust them.
Mhm.
So here I am in a new country. I understand that I have to rebuild my business because I cannot serve my Ukrainian audience from here because of the time difference completely. It's
Oh,
like it's
yes.
a small overlap. And I'm like, and I understand that, well, I have to start from scratch. I have to build my new email list. I have to build my new people that I know. So this was the first thing that I was giving up. But the thing is that when you give up, when you're aware of that, and if that is important to you, you're going to make decisions in a new space
Mm.
that are going to help you gain it at a bigger level. Felicia, in the lot, I've been here just for 1 year. I met so many people. I'm actually keeping track of the context, and I added more than 1,000 people to my list.
Oh my gosh, congratulations, that's amazing.
I'm brought into circles that I'm like, oh my God, I'm hanging out with people who I would never imagine in my life. So what I was afraid of losing, I got like 10x more.
Oh my gosh, I love that story. That's a and you know what? I love that you're putting yourself out there too to be in the spaces and you're like, I'm gonna connect with people. This is what, some
Mhm,
people think like, oh, I need to enhance my network or I need to meet people, but then they like
mhm,
stay and they're inside
yeah.
or just post on social media. And I like that you're actually getting out and you're finding people and you're connecting.
Well, I wasn't always like that. I was in the belief that, oh, I have to work on myself and people will notice me.
Mhm.
Well, it is true. It's not like you have to be someone to be noticed. So like you cannot just like get out there and pitch yourself or just get in the room and say, because you have to feel aligned with yourself
Yeah.
and with the room you are in. So let's say like I don't know, people think about this general rule, hang out with rich people, you're going to become rich.
Yeah.
But if you step in the room of rich people, but you're not aligned with them,
Yeah.
oh my God, you're going to walk out of that room so fast.
Yeah.
So yes, you have to work on yourself. But this was actually one of the changes that sometimes you just have to say hello first. And that's
Yeah.
what I started doing here.
That's amazing advice. I love that. Just get out and say hello. It's not that
Yeah.
scary. So if somebody is trying to reconnect with themselves and they feel very disconnected,
Mhm.
what kind of advice would you give them? Just like a short piece of advice or something small to help them start if they don't know even where to start.
You know what? There's so much advice out there, and I wouldn't say that something is right or wrong.
Mhm.
So pick what you like, and I'm gonna offer what works for me and works for my clients. But I don't say that it's like the only advice and this is the only way. So just do this, ignore everything. No,
Yeah.
I'm not not like that. I would start with a simple question: what I want right now.
Oh, I like that. And because you know what? I think that's really hard for
Mm,
some people, especially like I
mhm,
always think of, I don't have kids, but I'm around a lot of people that have kids. And I always
mhm.
think about moms. They're so focused on their child, their husband, their families, like keeping everybody else in track and together that I think a lot of times they can lose who they are or feel disconnected with themselves because they never ask
Oh
that
yes.
question, right? They never say, like, what do I want? Most of
Well,
them
I
probably
was
would say sleep.
yeah. Well, I was caught in a place in my life back when I started working on my energy, and that what led me to what I'm doing right now was I knew what everybody around me, the boyfriend at that time, my parents, my friends, what everybody knew, what everybody wanted.
Mhm.
But when it came to what do I want, I'm like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
So you're kind of like, you end up serving others,
Mhm.
completely ignoring yourself.
Mhm.
So basically, starting with what do I want? And for many, it's going to be really a hard question.
Yeah.
So well, I didn't plan to talk about that, but well, um, back in well, it doesn't matter of the times, but I was asking my clients to write down 100 list of 100 wants.
Oh, I love that.
It is quite a huge list.
Yeah.
So somebody like you're gonna be stuck at some point.
Yep.
Somebody is stuck on number 7, somebody is on 33, somebody is on 53, but you're gonna be stuck. The idea here is to actually go through that wall and make yourself wish that 54th, 55th,
Yep.
56th. And this is okay to actually here to look up what other people want, to look around and like the copy paste from somebody. But the only rule is to to copy what actually
You truly want?
yeah, yeah. So like if somebody wants a portion, you're like, nah, well, good to have, but no, not
Yeah.
mine. Not mine. Or somebody is like, I want to go out on a date with my husband, and like, and you're like, oh my god, like I haven't been on a date with my husband for a long time. Yes, on my list. So the thing is that the trick to this tool is once you get to 100, you cannot stop.
Yes, I love that because I think I've done a list like that. I think it was 25 and I was like,
Hmm.
how am I supposed to fill this out? But then you're right, because after you hit a certain point in your thinking, you're like, you can come up with because I think when most people think about it, they think of like a material thing, but then you start thinking about like, well, your inner world, like I want, to have a deeper connection with myself. I want to have a deeper loving relationship. I want, you start coming up with
Yeah,
other ways of saying your wants.
yeah. So the thing is that 100 wishes is such a long thing that you will add very small things and very big.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, uh, small things and big things there. And once you get over 100, it's like one of my clients said, "Well, you were right. How do I switch it off? Because I'm just at him. I'm just at him. I'm just at him, and I cannot stop. How do I switch
I
off?"
love that.
I'm like, you don't have to switch. And the thing is that a very important thing to remember: it's not a bucket list that you have to do.
Mhm.
It's the point of this exercise is just to switch on your want inside, that you actually pay attention. Oh, I want this and I want that. So when you actually listen to yourself and you're like, oh, I want coffee right now, go and get yourself that coffee. Oh, I want a new job. Well, you cannot go and get a new job right now, but make within the next 30 minutes, like kind of the next step to that. Open up the job openings, like whatever, like look
Mhm.
up what you want. Think about like what do you want or you don't want in your next job. Like make this step. So don't ignore that. And the answers will come
Yeah.
later on. And then the more you work on it, the capacity is going to grow. So you cannot, well, as you said, like you have to buy a book by any Porterfield for
Yeah.
2 week notice. That was your step
Yep.
to change in jobs.
Mhm.
So so do that first step. And then once you're ready and somebody's going to be ready sooner or later, you'll do that. So start by just doing what you want or making the first step to the things that you are not able to do right now yet.
Oh, I love that. That is amazing, amazing advice, and what an amazing thing that people can do right now. It doesn't
Mhm.
take anything. They just a pen and a paper, really. So I'm curious if I'm sure everybody goes through feeling a little stuck or disconnected. How do you realign yourself when you're feeling either stuck in something or not really connected with yourself?
Well, I think we are in different stages of life, and for everybody, it's going to be different in many ways. Right now, for me, is actually Mm. It used to be just go do something. Right now, it's actually stop and listen to yourself.
Oh, I like that.
So we talked about before this interview, and you said like you have a lot of fire in yourself.
Yeah.
I was fire, and back in Ukraine, I had a fireplace, and I would be just lighting it up every single day. Seriously, and like it felt like I was burning away everything that was no longer serving me
Yeah.
and filling me up with energy that needed to be there. And then one day I was like, I'm gonna light the fire. I'm like, no, I don't want it. I got in my car and I went to the lake and I sat near the
Oh,
water.
so good.
And you see, Felicia, where I am right now in Seattle, there's
Yeah,
so
right by the
much
water.
water. So much water. Like whatever you look, there's water. You look up, there's rain. Like
Yeah. It's coming everywhere.
yeah, so I think I'm in a stage of life that I'm like water. I need to calm myself down in order to get to the power of this ocean power because water is powerful.
hmm
So in order so back to the question, I would connect by stopping and just watching the water.
Oh,
I love Golden Garden Park. I go there, I sit and I just watch the water and I listen.
when you said that, I was like, I have two paddle boards, girl. We need to make a date.
Oh yes,
We
we're
can go
definitely
out in the
doing that.
middle.
Yep.
All right. Well, my last question I have for you is what does being unleashed and aligned mean to you personally?
Mm. It's a very simple question and very, very deep one.
hmm
I think unleashed and aligned is experimenting with this life as much as you can.
That's good.
Just doing whatever they seems outrageous, but it tickles you. It's like inside
Oh,
you're like,
that's
oh my
so
God.
good. That's so
And
good.
just do it.
Why I love that answer so much is because I think that when I was debating if I wanted to like try to start this entrepreneur journey, I don't know what I'm doing, do I want to quit this job that's very stable? And it was exactly what you said. It was like a little scary, but it tickled. It was like almost like that when I don't know if you're ticklish under your arms or whatever, but when you're like, you're just kind of like, oh, I'm like, it's like an excitement, but it's like really deep
Yeah.
inner excitement, but it's also scary. But I
Uh-huh.
think that that's when you're on the right path. You're just like, it's scary, but I'm like, I
Mhm.
kind of want to giggle inside.
Yeah, yeah. There's a sense of play inside. There's a
Yeah.
sense of like, oh, I wanted that. Oh, it kind of scary, but I wanted that.
Yeah.
And I think that is a very, very good sign for you to do that. Maybe not to the full extent. Maybe like it doesn't need to be like, oh my God, I'm gonna jump or head first. Just do a little bit. Just
Yes.
touch. Go on a date with that.
This has been so amazing. Elena, thank you so much. Where can people reach you at?
Well, I'm definitely right now very active on my newsletter. I send the emails only once per week on Wednesday. So it's Sadoma.co and sign up for my newsletter. And I'm sending stories every Wednesday. And I'm sharing how you can get aligned with your energy, what you can do in different, um, depending on where you are. Because sometimes you can be, in terms of energy, burned out. And that's one thing that you have to do. Or you actually want to gain energy to do something more, to be the goat and follow your tickle.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I love that. Well, I will have all the links in the show notes. It's been amazing. I can't wait to connect with you in person. And thank you so much for being on my podcast.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a review so that we can connect with more people to develop our mind, body, and spirit.